Make sure that if your drone is over 254 pounds, which technically this one is, if you put the...
I don't have any drones over 254.
254 grams. 254 pounds. What? That's a big drone.
Hey guys and girls, I'm James and welcome to the channel. Today is Drone Talk episode number 3. I'm here with my buddy Mark again with the FAA Drone Advisory Committee. And what are we going to talk about today?
Well, what we're going to talk about today is, let's say that you get a brand new drone, either like this, the Mavic 3, which is really nice, or you just have a Mini or a DJI, maybe a Pro,
Air 2S,
Mavic Pro, Air 2S or something like that, and you want to know where you can fly legally. And so there's a really great app out there that's available. It's called B4UFLY, and you can get it on the App Store. Just download it, and what it does is it put it on your phone, and you have your location turned on. It will tell you whether you can fly in that area or not. It's a really neat app, and it also takes you into, if you're in controlled airspace and not in uncontrolled airspace, it'll take you to another app that'll give you authorization through what they call the low altitude authorization and notification capability, or LAANC.
LAANC.
LAANC, thank you. It'll take you to that app where you can get an actual approval to fly. What we're going to do is we're going to open up this B4UFLY app here, as you can see.
And I'll have it up here.
Right.
Covering my mug. Usually.
Covering your mug, okay. So at any rate, as you can see here, we're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area right here, and you can see these kind of blue shaded areas, this kind of a light blue shaded area. That is what they call Class Bravo surface area. In other words, you have to have positive ATC control if you're a manned aircraft pilot to fly in this area all the way to the ground. If you can see where it's kind of drawn almost in a, I don't know, I'd say
Mickey
probably, Mouse. Yeah, it's kind of a Mickey Mouse pattern, but really what a Class Bravo airspace is it's kind of like an upside down wedding cake. Mm-hmm. So as you go higher in the airspace, it expands further and further out, because what it's doing is it's protecting all the airplanes, especially commercial airplanes that are flying in from all the 4 points out around DFW into both DFW Airport and Dallas-Fort Worth and Dallas Love Field also. Now down here in this area right here that has a yellow circle, that's Arlington. That is the AT&T Stadium, or what I call the Coach Jerry Dome. Mm-hmm. And also right next door to it is Globe Life Field. Now these stadiums seat over, 35,000 people, I believe, is the cutoff.
Oh, is the cutoff? Because it's 85,000. It can hold.
Yeah, it can hold up to 85,000, but 35,000 people can occupy that. And that, so when there's a huge gathering of people, what the FAA does, they put in what they call a temporary flight restriction area, and that's usually good for 3 miles around both of those stadiums. And you also see a couple more here. There's one over here in Dallas at the Fair Park, which is the Cotton Bowl. And then they have another one up here just north of that. That's SMU's Southern Methodist University Stadium, where they have over 35.
Texas Motor Speedway.
Texas Motor Speedway up here near just north of Alliance Airport. And then there's another one here in Fort Worth. And I'm not sure what that
TCU,
one's for.
maybe?
Maybe, yeah. Oh, that's right. It is TCU. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now, what's interesting about, we'll talk more about TFRs later, these yellow circles. But
and this is coming from a 40-year helicopter pilot.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. So I've got a lot of experience. I flew helicopters for 40 years, both in the military and for the police forces in Dallas. And so I'm very, very familiar with this airspace thing. And I know airspace is very confusing. If you're just starting out with this, you just got a new drone, I highly recommend that you go to the FAA's website. You take the LAANC, or what is the trust test. You know, it may seem overwhelming at first, but once you get in, you study, and it's a very instructive program. You can take the test as many times you want until you get all the questions right.
It's very simple, though.
It really is very simple. I mean, it was extremely simple for me because I've been doing this for a long time.
It's all common sense.
Yeah, it really is common sense.
It's not. There's no.
Yeah, there's nothing really that difficult about it. So that's the first thing you should do is take the trust test. If you want to do later, you want to do commercial work, like say go out and do real estate photography for somebody, or you want to film somebody's golf course or something like that. Then you want to get you want to work towards your Part 107 remote pilot certificate. And that takes a little bit more time, and they have there's a lot of companies out there that offer training programs for that.
I love Pilot Institute.
Yeah, Pilot Institute is really a good one.
He's really important in the drone community. All right, so you may be thinking, I just bought a drone, it's a toy, I want to go out and have some fun. But this isn't a remote control boat or a remote control car. As soon as this goes 1 inch in the air, you're in federal control airspace. And what if we didn't? If we didn't have? You're in the airspace.
You're in the airspace.
You're in the airspace.
That's true. You're in the airspace.
So what if we didn't have stop signs or speed limits on the highways? I mean, there has to be some type of regulations when it starts getting into a crowded airspace. There has to be something that's going to protect you from other things, but mainly other aircraft from people flying their drones in airspace they shouldn't be. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Let's jump right into the app then. The purpose of the B4UFLY app is it's a pre-flight planning and a research tool. Maybe you're not familiar with this, but when they first came out with the B4UFLY app, it was done by the FAA. They did not do a very good job with it. As a matter of fact, I think it got like 1.1 stars on the app. It was horrible. It was terrible. So what they did, they got so many complaints about how bad it was, they put it out for bid to companies to come in and say, hey, do something with this and improve it. A gentleman by the name of John Hengrains, who runs Aloft, which is a land service provider, won the contract. His company went in and really improved this. Now it gets 4.1 stars on the App Store. It's really, I use it every time. I mean, I am a recreational operator and I'm also a Part 107. And I do some work occasionally, but I use the B4UFLY app just about every time I go out. The reason for that is it provides situational awareness for recreational users and for commercial users. And if it's safe to fly in that area where you are, it provides a link to other FAA drone resources and regulatory information. So it not only just gives you an authorization, it tells you weather, which I'll show you here in a few minutes. It tells you it gives you all your weather conditions, and it tells you what airports and heliports are close by in your area. Now, there's one thing that you got to keep in mind. It does not include state and local rules, okay? Like, say, for restrictions on takeoff and landings in certain cities or that sort of thing. So your state and local regulations are not covered under this. And also, TFRs, it will not tell you when a temporary flight restriction, like say around the AT&T Stadium or Globe Life Field.
Or if the president's in town.
Or if the president is in town or something like that. That is your responsibility as a pilot. And even as a manned aircraft pilot, that is the responsibility of manned aircraft pilots to check those before they go take off.
Will it geofence it?
No, it will not.
It will not.
This is totally separate from the geofencing that you have on your drones. Okay, that will prevent you from taking off, like say if you're too close to an airfield or something like that. Now, what's nice about this particular app is, okay, right now I'm going to zoom in here, and I'm going to show you. Okay, let's say right here I'm right here at Tom Landry Freeway, down by East Chase Parkway in Dallas, and it's telling me down here at the very bottom that I'm cleared for takeoff. Now, if you click on this little view details thing here, it'll show you what's close by. It'll say Texas Health Resources, Fuller, Bell South, Helidyne Systems, and Bell Helicopter Hearst. If you have other things that you want to add, you can also add that submit data for this location. If I want to fly here, all I have to do is push this little blue button down here in the lower right-hand corner. Boom. And what it does is it draws a half-a-mile circle around the area where I want to fly. So once it does that, and you say, okay, that's good, that's where I want to fly, you click next, and you tell them, okay, are you recreational or commercial? You just say, okay, I'm recreational, I'm going to be recreational today. So file flight plan. Notify and fly, it'll say, okay, start time from now, from this period of time right now. It lasts for 60 minutes and you can fly up to 400 feet recreational. And what you do, now, like I say, this is for you and other drone pilots or UAS pilots to notify each other that you are flying in this area. Like I say, when we started, I told you I'm on the Drone Advisory Committee. Well, we just did a project for the FAA, man participation in remote ID. And one of the things that came out of our recommendations, see, the FAA, when they did the remote ID rule and said that we were going to have a beacon on our drones, one of the things that they left out was a network requirement. In other words, your drone was under the notice of proposed rulemaking that they proposed for that rule, was that not only would your drone have to give its position, transmit its position every 1 second when it was in the air, your controller would have to connect with your phone, and then your phone would connect with what they called an unmanned service supplier. That information would be available to everybody else. Well, that did not make it into the final rule. So one of our recommendations on our group was that we come up with something like this Notify and Fly Here, which is a voluntary reporting procedure. So everybody would know where everybody else is flying. And I think this is going to be the model in the future, something that's voluntary.
So when you hit follow your flight and you're flying and you see the little circle around you, will you see other drone pilots that have already followed?
If there's another drone pilot that's in that area that's already done this and filed, you should see that.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah, it's pretty neat.
That's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. So I'm going to hit fly and it says caution. So I view that. Okay. There's my drone service flight area that just popped up, and then here's these others. So we're good. Now it's good for 60 minutes. And it'll actually send you, if you put in your, when you first register for this program, if you put in your email address, it will send you a text message. And it'll also email you a message saying, okay, yeah, you did this, okay? And so let's say that we want to fly in this area right here. This is just down the street from where we are right here.
Okay.
So, and then, okay, so we're just inside Class Bravo surface area. If I zoom out, you see we're right up here just north of DFW Airport.
We're in Mickey Mouse's ear.
Yeah, we're in Mickey Mouse's ear, exactly.
Okay.
So let's say we want to fly right here. Well, this is where, and you notice down here, this blue banner, it says we're in controlled airspace. Now, if I click on View Details, it'll say, okay, we're in Class Bravo area. We're near Solana North, that's a helipad. And so, and it's permissible for us to fly at up to 400 feet in this area, which is pretty cool.
Even though it's inside of a color.
Even though it's inside of Class Bravo airspace, we as not only recreational operators, if you have that trust test, and if you have a Part 107, then you can fly and you can request a LAANC authorization. Now, a little bit on LAANC. It's a collaboration between the FAA and the UAS industry. It directly supports UAS integration into the National Airspace System, and it allows you access to controlled airspace at or below 400 feet. And it gives you an awareness of where pilots can fly and cannot fly, and what this does, once you request this authorization, it gives the ATC controller that controls that particular part of the airspace visibility in where and when drones are operated. And it's all automated. So authorization is almost in real time, and we're going to go ahead and do that. And here's the best thing about both of these. They're both free.
Awesome.
You know, I mean, it doesn't cost you a dime, okay? You can download both these apps for free and use them. And I encourage you to use this every time you go fly. Then that way, you're legal. Okay, if you decide you want to fly inside this Class Bravo. Another thing about this, you can do an authorization up to 90 days in advance on LAANC. Okay, and now in some cases and I'll show you this in just a minute, you might want to make.
And why that's important is you're going to go do a commercial shoot.
Right.
When you want to go somewhere, you need to find out if something's going to happen.
Right.
You don't want to load up all your stuff and go there and try to open the LAANC up and go, oh no, I didn't know about this.
It might be a good idea to do this before you leave the house as part of your pre-flight planning, just to make sure that you actually can fly there. And here's another thing too, there are some areas where, like around DFW Airport, I found where it'll say it's a 200 foot block that you can fly up to, but you can request authorization up to 400 feet in some of those blocks but you have to do it ahead of time, and it has to go an actual person at the ATC facility, wherever that is, in order to get approved.
And so
you have to do that in advance.
So last Friday we had clearance to 600 feet.
600 feet.
How do we do that?
You did that through probably through the drone zone.
The drone, yeah,
through
right.
the drone zone. Yeah. Now, also, here's another thing for night operations. If you're going to do this at night, LAANC can be used at night, but you have to have taken the most recent 107 test. Gives you which has a little bit more training on night operations in there and about over people and some. So you have to have that. You have to have that authorization after that date in order to fly at night.
And you know, this may seem like a pain, but to me, this makes it more fun.
Exactly.
It does.
Exactly.
And you know, and like just like when that police officer came up to us the other day, we're like, no, we're good. Let me show you.
Yeah. Now, check your phone.
Yeah.
You should get a text message, okay? And you should also get an email.
Okay. All right. So you bought a drone, and now we know what to do.
Yes. Well, just a few things to wrap up. Make sure that if your drone is over 254 pounds, which technically this one is, if you put the...
I don't have any drones over 254.
254 grams. 254 pounds. What? That's a big drone. Yeah. If it's over 250 grams, then you need to register.
Yeah.
And if it has the prop guards like on this Mini too,
it's already over. Yeah.
It's already over.
So it's $5 for 3 years.
$5 for 3 years.
And you're more official.
Yeah.
I mean,
and you need that. You need that number to put into your app.
Right.
Okay. So also. You don't have to use a loft for a LAANC authorization. There are plenty of other LAANC authorized, FAA authorized providers that you can choose from. And you know, some people, it's all preference. I started out with AirMap, and I really liked AirMap because the CEO of the company actually gave me a demonstration of it when I was in Prescott, Arizona for United States Helicopter Safety Team Conference. You know, there's, like I say, there's plenty of other, and LAANC is available for 726 airports to date in the United States. So chances are, if you're flying around in areas, if you're not geo-locked out with your drone around your airport, then you should be able to fly sometimes very close, because another thing the FAA just did, or in the process of doing, is they're shrinking the size of the LAANC boxes for authorization for altitudes down to 1/4 mile squares instead of 1 mile squares. So they used to be 1 mile. Now they're down to 1/4 mile squares, and it's to give you a little more flexibility. As far as there are some boxes now that go down to 50 feet. You can get authorization up to 50 feet to fly if you're real close to an airport. Like say if you're right next to an airport with a parallel runways, you might be able to fly just directly off that parallel runway.
Wow, 50 feet. Yeah. That's all you need.
You're just there. If that's all you need for some jobs. You know, if all you're doing is like a roofing inspection or something like that.
And again, this may seem, I want to repeat this again, this may seem like a pain, but the more you understand what drones are good for, they allow you to see what other people can't.
Right.
And they allow you to do so many things and so many inspections and save so much time. You feel safer when you're out there.
Right.
You know, it kind of takes that edge off, that you've already prepared yourself in every aspect. You know, you've done your pre-start checklist. Yeah. You know, you checked your drone out, your batteries. You get more used to using your drone every day. This will seem very easy after 3 or 4 days. So if you're going to go on vacation next week and you're going to Colorado, you can go ahead and check and make sure you can fly there before you get all the way there.
That's what the B4UFLY app is really, really great for. Like I say, I took a trip up to Maine, and the first thing I did was get on that B4UFLY app to make sure that there wasn't anything in the area. You know,
and when you set that date, that lets you know if there's a TFR.
Well,
no, you're right. You're right.
That is totally independent.
Totally independent.
You have to check yourself if there's TFRs in operation. But it does, like I say, around DFW in those areas, you know, it has those orange circles, 3 mile circles, to let you know, hey, there is a there could be a possible TFR.
Well, will a TFR block your drone down?
No, it won't.
It will not.
No.
So if you get caught flying in a TFR, you could get in trouble.
You could get in trouble, and the FAA, the FAA can fine you if they catch you. They can't come out and arrest you or anything like that. But because they're an administrative agency, they don't take enforcement action.
So if I flew over the president, they wouldn't arrest me?
Well, now that's different. The Secret Service might come and get you. Yeah. The man will come and get you.
All right, guys. Well, guys, I appreciate it. Another talk of drone talk. Please leave any comments below, any questions. I'm sure you're going to have questions. We'll try to answer them the best of our ability. And let us know what you want us to go over next. Okay? I mean, if it's drone maintenance, like we talked about before, they don't tell you when to change these props.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
No, there's nothing in the manual that says how long. And that's why I was curious about the FPV drone, the new FPV drone. How long can I fly this thing before I need to change the props?
Yeah.
Because those props are spinning really, really fast.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, we enjoyed it and hope you learned something today. Stay safe, fly safe. Take your time, learn your craft, learn your hobby, get your skill set better before you put yourself in situations that you'll regret later.
Great.
All right.
Thank you, James.
All right. Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
All right. Bye.
All right.